Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
Live from Los Angeles, the Win Without Competing Show with Dr. Arlene Barrow, Career Coach 1 and author of Win Without Competing. Now, here's Dr. Arlene.
Thank you, Virgil. Welcome to my show. In tough economic times, it is especially important to implement my Right Fit method, which will enable you to win without competing in your career and in your life. Listen to learn about my Right Fit method from my guest interviews. A multifaceted career phenomenon. My guest today is Rosie Lee Hooks, Director of the Watts Towers Arts Center, the Tour program for Watts Towers, and the Charles Mingus Youth Arts Center. Digging deeper, Ms. Hooks is an award-winning actress who won the prestigious NAACP Image Award for Best Supporting Actress. She toured the United States and Europe with the Mark Taper Forum. At the Smithsonian Institution, she served as diplomatic liaison and director of field research. And then, welcome, Rosie Lee, to Win Without Competing.
Thank you, Arlene.
It's a pleasure having you today. Tell us about your childhood.
Well, I grew up in Alabama, in Bessemer, Alabama, small town outside of Birmingham, Alabama, and to a large family, and it was, a very racist time in Alabama when I grew up. I grew up in a small neighborhood and do remember seeing the KKK march on my community. They had graduated from the horses and into cars, and they would parade in front of our houses with some sitting in the cars with the lights on and some walking, and they burned a cross across the street at my Catholic school that we went to. So, it was a very trying time, but I came from a loving family, a mother and father and sisters and brothers. And I don't know, that's kind of how I came up.
You're a multifaceted career phenomenon. You're a singer, actress, professional photographer, film documentarian, karate expert, and more. What do you think occurred in your childhood to encourage you to be open to new opportunities?
I don't know. My father was a butcher and a builder, and he also was a storyteller. My mother was a homemaker, and I had godparents also that gave me the run of the house, that let me know that whatever I wanted or wanted to be was a possibility, and that I was a very important person in the world. So I think I got some reinforcement when I was very young that I could do and achieve what I wanted to achieve, even though at the time I didn't know I was getting all of these things, but I guess I must have.
Well, obviously they instilled in you the confidence to be open, because you have to be confident to try new things. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, yes, I guess, being confident in who I was, I guess it started when I was young because I felt good about myself most of the time. But as I grew up and as I got older, I think I know I was very shy, introverted, kind of a young person and growing into young adulthood. But later on when I became an actor, and that's one of the reasons I think I became an actor was to come outside of myself, to be able to be somebody else on stage and have the audience believe who you are. That's a wonderful kind of a thing to be able to do, to step outside of yourself and do whatever you want as another person, so that kind of gave me an outlet too.
How old were you when you started acting?
Oh, I was around probably late 20s, early 30s.
Let's look at tracing your career so our listeners can follow your decision-making process, focusing on the search for the right fit. Perhaps they were all right fits for different reasons. Can you expand further about the acting? How did you get into it?
Well, my sister actually was the actor in the family. She'd write these plays and make us read them. But she was also in high school. She was in the drama club and really studying acting. But I was, as I said, very shy and introverted. So, I didn't really feel comfortable getting up in front of people until I had moved from Miami at the time to Washington, D.C. And I was working at a educational consulting firm, and a friend of mine wanted to join a theater company that was just beginning in Washington, D.C. in the early 70s. And she asked me to come with her, so I did eventually. I made a deal with her. I think she had to give me a shawl or something that she had that I wanted, because she was afraid to go by herself, so I was going to go with her. And I managed to get together a poem by Sterling Brown, Strong Men Getting Stronger. And I went and auditioned, and I was accepted into the community, into the group. And that's basically how I got started in acting. And I became the coordinator of the training program for the resident company, the D.C. Black Repertory Theater Company. And I just kind of dabbled from there.
Even though you were shy, you were able to overcome it by becoming other characters. Is that your take on it?
That's part of it, but I think when you become an actor, that process of becoming an actor, you have to just reveal yourself, and you have to get comfortable with who you are, what you are, and in order to portray other people or be other people, I think you have to be able to be a little comfortable and know yourself very well in order to do that work, and it's a long process. But
did you ever take acting lessons subsequently?
Absolutely. I'm always. I think actors will take lessons and classes and workshops until they, discontinue their career or die. But like I said, I was a member of a repertory theater company, and within that company, and I was in charge of training. So in that company, we had drama, we had, which is acting classes, scene studies. We had movement because we had to be able to, if not dance, at least move on stage comfortably as an actor. And we also had to sing, and we had to develop our voices. So within the context of learning all of those things and becoming such a rich person and have all of these abilities to draw on, it kind of helped me to be a little more secure in who I was.
Now, you touched upon singing. How did that really evolve?
Well, as I said, I was in charge of training for the actors. We were in D.C. Working with Van Tal Whitfield as the artistic director and Robert Hooks as the executive director. And I was to find a vocal instructor. So Bernice Johnson Reagan was at Howard University working on her folklore degree, and she was also a singer. And from the civil rights days, she was one of the civil rights singers, and she was had her own career as a singer, actually, in addition to going to school. But she came over and became the director of our singing workshop, and actually out of that workshop came an a cappella singing group, Sweet Honey in the Rock, and I'm a Honey.
I see. How long were you part of that group?
From the inception, which was, I think, around 1973. You know, actually, when you become a honey, you're always one. I think there have been about 23 of us since the inception of the group.
Oh, 23 honeys. Okay.
Yes, but on stage at any given time are just about 5 women and 1 signer. So it's a compilation of different women that have come through that passage with Bernice at the helm.
Producer, can you take us into that realm?
Well, I guess I started producing at in addition to the D.C. Black Repertory Theater Company and productions that we had there and being involved in those productions. I went to the, after I left University Research Corporation, which was an organization that funded colleges and universities in the 8 southeastern states to set up educational programs for staff and Head Start and follow through. I'm sorry, I kind of lost my thought there. What was your question?
About producing. How did you enter the world of producing?
Absolutely. And after that, being involved with that University Research Corporation and doing those programs, there was a job opening at the Smithsonian Institution, and it was with the Festival of American Folklife, and the position was the director of the African Diaspora Program. So by this time I had a lot of administrative skills, and so I applied for the job and I got it. And what the program actually did was to make a tricontinental statement on black people and their culture, meaning that you can find many different cultural forms still intact on that diaspora from Africa to South America and Caribbean and to the United States. So I was the producer of that African Diaspora Program that included managing and lots of administration and sending researchers out domestically and on an international level to find the forms of culture that we wanted to bring back. Say, for instance, we'd get a basket stitch in South Carolina, one in Jamaica, and one in Ghana, and that we would still have that same basket stitch intact. We would do that in the culinary arts. We did that in religion. We did it in secular music also, and in the marketplace, the arts and crafts and so on. So I think that was my first major production experience.
Going further, diplomatic liaison. How did you become a diplomatic liaison, and what did you do?
Well, I coordinated activities with the Ministries of Culture, the embassies in Washington, D.C., the Ministries of Culture in those foreign countries, and through the State Department. I traveled on official passport with carrying the proposal under Kissinger's signature to the various ministries of culture in those African and Caribbean and countries to participate in the celebration of bicentennial. And actually it was we would do 2 weeks in years leading up to the actual festival itself, and then that year of the festival, I think we did about a month and a half on the reflecting pool, presenting those different countries and culture and in different disciplines to the residents of Washington, D.C., right along the reflecting pool there.
Film documentarian.
Yes, well, I think it's kind of innate in me, the storytelling with my heritage, and also having worked at the Smithsonian Institution, I really learned that we have to record our stories ourselves in order, and our history ourselves in order for it to be our history and be an accounting of what we know and what we remember rather than somebody else's. So I think I got the knack for needing to document people in their culture as I went along the way.
Professional photographer.
Well, I started photography around the same time that I went to the Smithsonian Institution, and I took a class. I actually found the camera, and started to learn about it and try to use it and document things, especially family things, because I think sometimes we don't record enough of that history photographically. So I think at one time when I was just learning, one of my friends' father died, and I went down and to Georgia with her and recorded that whole culture around funerals and people dying and family coming back together and all of that. So I started becoming a photographer right around that same time.
And I know that some of your photographs have been published as well.
Yes, from that African Diaspora program came a book, Black People and Their Culture, which documents the African Diaspora portion of that festival. And I did a photo essay in that book of what the festival was actually like, which was basically a documentation on a daily basis of activities that would go on around that festival.
The Watts Towers. Tell us how you got your position at the Watts Towers.
Well, I've been with the City of Los Angeles Department of Cultural Affairs about 18 years, and when I first came to the department, I was Performing Arts Program Coordinator, which meant that I coordinated activities for the mayor and for the different council people here. And basically they were cultural festivals. I think the first festival that I produced here was the Festival of Philippine Arts and Culture. I produced the first and conceptualized, developed, and designed the first 3 Cuban cultural festivals, the Central Avenue Jazz Festival, produced the Armenian Festival, Thai Festival, Festival of American Folk Life, that one too, and several others since I've been here. And I got to Watts, I think, as an evolution probably. In 1993, I think it was, I went down. There was a staff change there, and then I was asked to come down and be interim director, and I was there as interim director then. And I came back to my position, and then years later, the position opened up again, and actually I was asked to, and mainly by the community, to come down and be the director of the Watts Towers Arts Center. And since then, we've just opened the Charles Mingus Youth Arts Center last September. And also the Watts Towers are, of course, were built by Simon Rodia, and I directed the tour program of those towers also.
Well, I know that there have been documentaries about the Watts Towers. I recently interviewed Edward Landler about the Watts Towers. From your perspective, what is the significance of the towers, and how did your recent trip to Italy relate to its significance?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the Watts Towers, are even more a symbol of immigrants who came to this country to a new world, to build a life and to build something. And I think Simon Rodia is that immigrant who came and built something here, even more than the Statue of Liberty that was not built by an immigrant here. This was actually built here by him. He worked on those towers for 33 years by himself. And I think what it tells us all, if we stick to it, we can do it. And that's one of the mantras that I use with my young people. If you stick to it, you can do it. So I think he has given inspiration to a community, the Watts community, which is always the cesspool of the world if we listen to the news. They are very loving families, and in that one square block area comes more artists in all of the disciplines than anywhere else in L.A., including Charles Mingus, who grew up on 108th Street right on the next block from where the Watts Towers Art Center is. Buddy Collette grew up down there, and Patrice Rushen and Dugu Chancellor, just a myriad of phenomenal people coming out of that area that we don't hear enough about, except about the gangs and the welfare and the drugs and all of that. Yes, that's true, as it's true in many other communities, but nobody ever talks about that arts educational institution that's been there more than 50 years, providing arts education to a phenomenal community.
Tell us more about that, because I think that's important for our listeners to hear about. Do you have to live in that area to attend these classes?
No, you don't. We have several programs at the Watts Towers Art Center. We have a visiting schools program where we facilitate young people from all over Los Angeles. They come there, they get inspired by the towers, they do an art project, and they look at the wonderful exhibitions that we do there in the gallery. We have two fantastic galleries. In fact, we just opened Kith and Kin, which is a compilation of 10 artists, including Dominique Moody, Willie Middlebrook, Dale Davis, Ming Smith, Frank Romero, Michael Massenberg, just a phenomenal group of artists that are exhibiting there, and it's part of our 50th-year celebration. And, in fact, going to Genoa was a part of this 50 years of celebrating art inspired by the Watts Towers. I was invited to come to Genoa to do a paper and also to screen one of my films, Fertile Ground, Stories from the Watts Towers Art Center, which actually is basically a history of the Watts Towers Art Center. However, we say Stories from the Watts Towers Art Center because we only told some of the stories. There are so many stories to be told of people who are the foundation of that Watts Towers Art Center. So I went to Genoa to share that at the conference that was being done on Simon Rodia.
You've received many awards for a wide array of accomplishments. Which accomplishments will you always remember and why?
I think I remember them all because they're all are very dear to me. Lots of them are community service awards, one from the Festival Filipino Arts and Culture Community, also from the King Drew Medical Center Community Service Award, and the Rainbow Award from Theater, and of course the Image Award from the NAACP was a phenomenal, wonderful award, and it makes me very proud to be able to receive those awards, and also becoming a black belt in Tang Soo Do Karate. I'm very very pleased with myself to have been able to accomplish that also. So I'm not sure if I can pick out any one. I'm appreciative of them all.
Well, it sounds like they're all the right fit, just like all the careers are the right fit for you?
Well, I think so. I kind of live my life by having it divided into several pieces, as you can tell from all the things that I do.
Right.
Because I think that when we close ourselves off to doing just one thing, and it's wonderful when that one thing works for you, but when it doesn't, then, we tend to lose ourselves and just kind of back ourselves into a corner. But if we just look at our life as a pie and, cut it in however many pieces. You don't have to cut it into 24 pieces or like I do sometimes, or 12 pieces, or even 6 pieces. You could divide it into half, into 4 pieces, whatever. But, when you have other things going on in your life, when one is not happening or you're not being rewarded by that one, there are other places to go that you have kind of nurtured along the way for yourself.
Why did you decide to study karate?
Actually, I started when I was in D.C., and I just had a need to be able to take care of myself under any situations without having a weapon or needing a weapon, just to feel the confidence. And I also took it because I needed to get control of myself, and I think I was almost getting ready to smack somebody. So I said, wait a minute, you got to get control of yourself. So, and that's what karate is. It's not about getting equipped so you can go out and just kill. It's about...
Right. Well, I guess the real question is, why were you ready to smack somebody? In other words, what made you so angry?
Well, coming out to Los Angeles and not really having any roots out here, and being in the industry, and being married at the time, and just having, a lot of disrespect to some extent by women. When you have a man in Hollywood, it's hard to hold on to him sometimes, because women are just a dime a dozen, it seems, and we kind of don't disrespect women. We women disrespect women so much sometimes that, you're either going to smack them or you're going to get control of yourself and just let them, run their course.
So that's why you selected karate. And did it achieve your objective?
Absolutely, including a broken knee. I tore the the ligament in my knee, but I got my black belt. Yes, it just it helped me so much just to become more confident in who I was, more appreciative of who I was. I also had a young son at the time, and I thought that, again, that I wanted him to be able to take care of himself under any situation, but also to gain that discipline and have that place to go within yourself and be comfortable with yourself and alone with yourself. So he also became a black belt, which really kind of pushed me, because I had to become a black belt before him, so that he had to bow to me before I had to bow to him. So we have that little race going on. But there's a wonderful partnership and brotherhood and sisterhood that is developed when you're in a karate school or martial arts school like that.
Are you still doing karate?
No, I'm too old to be out there running around and fighting with those young people right now. No.
All right. What about acting? What's happening with your acting career?
Well, not enough, but
well, who knows? Maybe somebody will hear you, Rosie Lee, and be calling you shortly.
Yeah, job. Yeah, that would be great. Well, I'm still acting. My background is legitimate theater. I've done a couple of films. I do episodic. I do commercials. And I do legit theater, so, I'm still very active in all of those things. I go out on calls when I can, when my agent sends me out. And
I know you also did television as well, am I correct?
Yes, episodic stuff, whatever. whatever came about.
So you still feel very strongly about acting.
Acting is my heart. If I could just act, I would just be the last movie star, but I don't work enough as an actor. So when I am not acting, I am producing other events and programs and activities. But I will always act. As long as I'm here, I will always continue to act.
How has passion contributed to your career success?
I think passion is a huge part of my career success, because when I go after something, when I make a film, or when I'm doing a role, or when I'm producing the Day of the Drum Festival or the Jazz Festival or my piano recital for my kids, I care a lot about what I'm doing, and I'm very blessed that way, that I'm able to work in the arts, because that's where my heart really is. So when I'm not acting myself, I get a chance to still either produce and conceptualize, develop, and design other activities or programs or festivals, or making films. So I'm pretty lucky in that I can move around within the different disciplines.
And do you feel passionate as you're moving around?
I feel very passionate as I'm moving around. It's like birthing a baby each time. I do a film. I just finished editing my last documentary on a tribute to Charles Mingus. And it's like going through 9 months of labor, and then you finally finish, and you get this product here that's just a phenomenal thing. So I'm very passionate about what I do. When I'm on stage, there's nothing like being able to communicate with people, many different people. And when I'm producing Patrice or Ndugu or Buddy or those kind of master musicians, again, it's just such a passion to be able to interact and work with these people and hear this music and experience all of the interactings of those arts and the phenomenal people that I get to work with. I really get to work with just phenomenal people, and I'm very blessed to be able to have had in my life all of these people coming in and out, and I do see them as mentors as I continue to go along the way. You ask about training and continuing and so on. I'm a student. I'm still a student, and I'm very, very excited about being able to do whatever it is I'm going to do next. So I do have a lot of passion about what I do, and I do know that I'm lucky to be able to do that and to earn a living pursuing my passions.
How do you balance your professional and personal life?
Well, my professional life and my personal life kind of merge together a lot, because most of my friends are in the industries, either in the entertainment industry or artists or that nature of people. I'm just thinking about all of my friends, and they are either musicians or actors or artists or that genre of people. So it seems very easy to manage my professional and personal life, because they do merge quite a bit.
So you don't have to really think to yourself, I'm doing too much working, I need to be socializing more. You don't have to make that differentiation, is that what?
Of course, I still have to do that. I still have to say, stop. You don't need to produce another show. Go look at a show. I do have to make myself do that. But I do have a wonderful group of friends who ensure that I keep my beak wet outside of working. But I may be a workaholic, because I love what I do, and there's so much of to be done, and I have broad shoulders and I can carry a lot, so I don't mind working because I do enjoy it. I do have to tear myself away for some personal personal time sometimes are like hanging out with my friends and going to see shows and so on. But I managed to get that in, too.
What advice do you have for those who are struggling with their careers, of which many are unemployed?
Well, it's a very difficult time right now, and I think it's going to even get worse. But sometimes you just have to be open for something you've never done before. Just take a chance and walk out there and trust that you're going to be okay, but don't just sit around and wait for it to come, because it's not going to come. Those ships don't come in that they say, well, one of these days my ship is going to come in. Well, you got to go out there and get that ship, It's not just going to come there and say, hey, come on, get on. You got to go look for it. You got to be aggressive. I know it's scary times and all, but, go do something. At one point I worked at Neiman Marcus when I first came out here because I was so frustrated and I didn't work enough as an actor. So I said, well, I'll go get myself a job, and a real job, and I did. And I never brought home a paycheck because I used it all there shopping. So
you spent all your money on making yourself glamorous and beautiful.
That's right, and I made myself feel better until I could get another job, and I eventually did. But that was not something I had expected to do. But sometimes you have to look in other directions than where you are, because when doors don't open on one way, you can have them open another way. And it takes a little work, a little time, a little trust, but absolutely you have to get out there and go look for it, whatever it is, and whatever form it may take.
Well, I think your flexibility is amazing, and I think that other people need to learn how to become more flexible, especially in difficult times when you may not particularly like what appears to be the choices that are in front of you. You have to figure out what other choices you can create and be open to trying something new.
Absolutely. And sometimes we do stuff and we take jobs that we don't really like, but that foundation of whatever that job gave you, there was something positive in there. And you got to look at that positive part of it, because, as I came up, whatever door opened and whatever, I was a waitress at one point. I used to dust for my teachers, and it's interactive skills. I used to write letters for the older people in the community, I used to interact a lot with migrant workers when I worked in a grocery store. I always was able to learn something from those people, because they are human beings. If you look at human beings like they are human beings, there's nobody in the world that's more important than you are. And it's a mantra that you must keep saying, and I have my children and Watts say it, there's nobody in the world who is more important than I am. And when you really get your feet into that a little bit, you begin to live it. And, you act it out until you can believe it. And a lot of times in some of those jobs that I got so fast, so quick, I had to act like I knew what I was doing until I knew how to do it. So, you may want to try opening yourself up a little bit more in that way.
Well, Rosie, it's just been a pleasure interviewing you today. Or I should say, Rosie Lee Hooks.
Thank you so much, Arlene.
It's just been a pleasure. Is there something that you would like to say about your center before we conclude the interview to entice people to visit?
It is a phenomenal center, the Watts Towers Arts Center and the Charles Mingus Youth Arts Center. We've been providing arts education to that community for, like I said, more than 50 years. And I'm talking, our young people are not exposed to mediocre artists. They only get professional artists. We have a wonderful animation program with Sony Pictures and Cal Arts. We have a piano program. In fact, we're going to have a piano recital on the 26th of April. We're celebrating all of this year as part of our 50th anniversary. We're going to, we also have photography classes. We have graphic arts classes. We have a community garden. You can come by and help us in the garden. Our young people from Florence Griffith Joyner Middle School comes over and helps us with the garden. We have so many wonderful things that we're doing for the community, and we need people to know that Watts is more than the riots. You know, it's a very loving community of people who want the same thing for their children that everybody else wants, and we have a jewel. We are the heart of Watts. We continue to provide arts education to the world. We have a very large international based visitors to our center also. So we're very excited about what comes out of Watts, California, and is not gang related.
It's wonderful. How would our listeners find out more about your programs and how to visit your center?
Well, you can contact us through the Cultural Affairs Department. I think it's www.culturela.org, and our center is the Watts Towers Arts Center and the Charles Mingus Youth Arts Center. You can also give us a call. We're open for business Tuesday through Sundays. We have phenomenal exhibitions in the Noah Purifoy Gallery and in the Mingus Gallery, and we're going to have an artist talk actually on May 3rd of all of those 10 artists that I mentioned earlier that we just opened that show and curated that show. And for our celebration this year at our Day of the Drum Festival and the Jazz Festival, we'll be focusing on all of those elders that came before us and started the Watts Towers Arts Center and allow us to continue to provide to the community.
Would you like to share the center's phone number?
Yes, the phone number is 213-847-4646.
Wonderful. Rosie Lee Hooks, you are truly a multifaceted career phenomenon. Please come back soon.
Thank you very much.
Please join me again next Wednesday, April 22nd at 5 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Winner of the 2009 Right Fit Award. Job Seeker wins the 2009 Right Fit Award. You are cordially invited to attend my live coaching of the winner of the Right Fit Award, who will learn how to walk down the right fit road until he or she hears you're hired. Barrow Global Search, of which I am the founder and CEO, conducted a nationwide contest to find the right fit winner who has been unemployed for 6 or more months, not read Win Without Competing, nor listened to the show. The failed job strategies of the winner include blasting resumes from Burbank to Bombay. The winner represents the millions of unemployed who are using the same ineffective strategies. Eager to learn more? At 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time or after on April 22nd, read the updated show description on Blog Talk Radio, which will disclose the winner and more. Curious about why we call the winner the right fit rather than indicate that that person is the best? Be sure to tune in next Wednesday. If you can't tune in at 5 p.m. Pacific, then please listen to the archive show. Goodbye for now. This is Dr. Arlene, author, Win Without Competing, Career Coach 1, founder and CEO, Barrow Global Search, Inc. And if you want to contact me directly, you can call 310-441-5305 or email me at drbarrow@winwithoutcompeting.com. For more information about my book, visit winwithoutcompeting.com and drbarrow.com. Looking forward to being with you again next week. Bye-bye.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. Take control with Reputation Defender. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff. You can start by getting your free Reputation Report Card at ReputationDefender.com or call 800-811-4975 to speak to an expert.